Oh my goodness gracious. I still have to do all the other parts we didn't do on the other side. Okay, these little pieces are exhausting. How's it going? My name is Brent from Encore Window Tinting. Nope. How's it going? My name is Brent from Encore PPF and Tint, and today we are doing some paint protection film on the front bumper of a 2025 Honda Civic Type-R. Wow, that was tough to get out. What we're going to be installing on today in this video is going to be the black parts, the accent parts of this bumper. It's a lot of pieces. It's over 20. I don't know, maybe at some point I'll count them. And what we're going to do for certain parts of this is that we're going to do one side, and then I'm going to do the other side by myself because it's going to be super repetitive, and I feel like this video is going to get really lengthy because these parts are pretty intricate and there's like a lot of pieces that go into here. So we'll do everything, we just won't repeat things. So let's go. Let's get started. We're gonna go ahead and start in this area here, and actually I'm gonna do this piece first and then we'll go from there. Let's set this in place and then we'll get the camera adjusted here. That's not that piece. Are we sure? That's definitely not that piece. I really thought that was that piece. That piece is this piece. All right. Alright, I'll wet all that down. Let's get our piece of material in here and see what we've got. Goes way back in there, down to a tiny little point. Okay, so okay, now we're gonna end up being pretty tacky, and we'll see. I might have to add some soap to my slip solution here. Okay, so that is all lining up really good right here. This is an interesting little piece. Okay, and then we'll see how this is gonna need to come release and roll back here a little bit further, which then pulls this back, which is good, which is needed for the alignment. Okay, this is an interesting piece here. All right, well, let's start squeegeeing some of this out and see what we can do with it. Okay, so go ahead right here, come across this way, and then I'll work up that way and get rid of that air pocket. Okay, yeah, pretty sticky. I just got done using this keg for another material we were using, which was cover guard. We've got a little bit of that left in stock, and this right here is the let's see, what is this? This is Suntech Ultra, and it is quite a bit more tacky than the cover guard, so it needs almost double the amount of soap in it. Probably go from about 7 milliliters per gallon with the cover guard up to about 12 milliliters per gallon with this material here. Okay, let's go ahead and squeegee this over. Okay, now we need to get this little guy put in. This is, you know, this stuff is just very time consuming. It's not so much, I mean, this is going to be interesting in here, so that's going to be a little bit difficult, but this type of stuff isn't so much difficult as like installing the piece on the bumper, but it's time consuming. Very time consuming. Okay, now let's see, what do we need to do here to make sure this stays lined up? Because it needs to like tilt back like this. So something like that, will that work? Or does it need to go further back? I feel like that's working pretty good, so let's go ahead and push this down. Let's see. Oh, keeps popping up. Okay, let's go ahead and get a little bit of tack solution in there. And there's quite a bit of okay, hang on. We can't mess around for too long. Once you get some tack into a place like that where you're going to be rounding that and pushing that down, we can't continue to let that pop up like this because it's going to start leaving marks in the adhesive in this area, and because it's on black, it's going to be super noticeable, so we can't have that. All right, and then let's push out over to this area here. Okay, so you can see we got there's a lot of stretch in this right here already because it's very tight, and we're going to need to pull up a little, and hopefully that's going to be doable. Let's see. I'm sure it's doable, but hopefully it's simple. All right, I'm going to put some tack in these edges here, and we're just going to get these down real quick, and then we really need to keep working on all this here so we don't get work marks in it from letting it sit for too long. Okay, so let's go ahead and lay that piece into place. I'm going to go ahead and throw some tack in this little piece, and let's go ahead and squeegee that out, and then let's get this little area here. Okay, so I'm kind of just going up and down with this currently. Okay, all the way over. Wow, those are tiny little area. Okay, now let's continue to work our way up. So I'm going to throw in some slip in here right now. Okay, so we got some more work time with this. Let's see what we've got here. I'm just pushing this, let's see, it's kind of hard to explain, but you see that tension in there makes this not want to lay down flat, so I'm just kind of pushing that out like this, just like that, and it's basically just moving that up higher and away from the area we're currently working on. Okay, let's go ahead and push this out. We're gonna need a little tack in there. Okay. We'll bring this part down like that, and we'll take this part up. Okay, that's looking good. And let's just keep going up with this part, and then we'll deal with these in a moment. So I'm going to throw some slip under that one. That one looks like it's lining up decently, and we're just working our way up to the top. So I'm going to try to slip first, and then if we need it, we'll switch over to tack solution. Okay, now I feel like we're getting a little high here, so I'm gonna pull this way, like that. Are you out of here, Ron? Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and squeegee out towards our finger. Okay, see how that's starting to get, this is the line, body line here, and then the material's right here. It's starting to get like it's leaned back like this. So I was just trying to pull that forward a little bit. Although the rest of it's lining up really good, so. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hold right here, do a little stretch over to this side. It's not much, but just a little bit. We'll go ahead and we'll get this top pushed down so that can start to cure and set in place, and then we'll go ahead and go down from there into there, and we'll come back to this one. Right now, let's move our way up this. So we'll just continue with just the slip in there, see how this goes. Let's go ahead and roll this onto there. Perfect. Okay, that's very intricate little parts. All right, now I'm gonna just put tack in this. So I just got tack in there. I need that edge, that end back though. So give that back to me. It went somewhere in there, okay? This is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna lift the car up a little. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a new tack in there, and then we're gonna go ahead and run our finger along here with a little bit of pressure, and then just continue to follow this. I can get my thumb in there a little bit better, so I'm gonna run my thumb, and then we'll run till that runs out. Just like that. Okay, so hopefully that pressure with my thumb allowed that to pretty much tack up into place, and now we can put some pressure on it and squeegee out where basically the whole area, even where my thumb ran, but really I'm trying to get above where my thumb went, and then we'll go back behind where my thumb went. Okay, that very little end did pop loose. Let's get a little bit more tack under that. push it in there again. Okay. All right, well that's a fun piece, huh? Okay, let's get over here now. So I'm gonna just stick with the slip solution. So let's pop this up. Oh, that is up. Okay, let's try a little tack right there on this part. Kind of surprised that came back up again. Maybe I didn't flush all the slip out. Okay, so now I've got that down. Now let's go ahead and round down this, and since we're just gonna try with the tack. I think that's all that's in there at this time. I don't know, it just keeps popping up. It's just kind of a funky little recess there. So let's lift that up, fill that up with tack solution, and then we'll start back here. And what we want to do is we want to go like this, and I don't know if you guys are what you're gonna be able to see here. We're trying to go across the bottom of that, and then back to the part where it flattens out and comes straight down. I'm gonna run my finger through there and try to push out into that recess, push all that moisture out and air that's getting trapped in that recess. Okay, that is an interesting little piece there. More tack on the edge. Okay, and then we'll push the rest of this down again. Okay, we've got this part here that's bumping. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, get some more tack in that, and we'll run our finger down that recess. Try to get that to stick all the way down. There we go. Okay, all right, that's looking pretty good. Now let's work on these last couple little pieces. I'll spray some tack in there, and we'll get that guy lined up, and we'll start over here and work our way over to our finger. Okay, that looks good. Just making sure that this part was down now. Okay. Okay, working our way down to this one now. So this part was popping up a little bit in that recess, so I just went and ran my finger through that. Let's pop this up now. And let's make sure that we've got good alignment, and we'll go ahead and squeegee this out. So, you know, when you're doing stuff like this with these little pieces like this, it's very time consuming. So make sure that you're charging accordingly, you know, for other stuff that you could be doing in the same amount of time, right? If you're real busy. If you have just time, then I guess you can give a sweet deal on this. But, you know, if you just make sure you're charging accordingly is all I'm saying. Because time is money. And this takes time. All right, now I think there's some little pieces that go in here. Oh, and look at that, that's interesting. Those pieces move. They're like pop-in pieces. Does this one move? No, just this one. Why do you think that one comes out? Is this one behind it? I don't see anything. That one is removable. That's interesting. Other side's the same way. All right, let's get a little mist on that one and go grab our little tiny piece. This one's it. Not like that, it isn't. Flip it over. And well, I don't know. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, okay, if we scoot it over a little bit, then it is that piece. Okay, so just like that. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna hold this in place, and I'm just gonna try to sneak a bunch of tack solution in under the edges. And you know what would be nice is you could even grab a squeegee that's even smaller than this one. Because this is gonna be, it's a little bit big for this. And there's some, it's kind of, I don't know if it shows up in camera, but this piece actually kind of hits these edges and then rounds out, because this dips in and then comes out a little bit. And so it's going onto the coming out part as well. And so you really got to make sure and get those recesses pushed out really good. Let's get a little more fresh tack in there. Otherwise, you're going to leave a lot of air pockets and stuff in these, which is super easy to do. I did an Audi one time, and holy moly, I don't even know. This grill pieces like this, there was over 100 of them on this bumper, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was something. I think I recorded some of it. I don't know if I ever made a video out of it though, but I let a new guy put these pieces on. That's a mistake. That was such a mistake. Showed him how to do it, but he, you know, all those little recesses where it starts to turn and come out, if you don't get the water out of there, it turns into air pockets. And so that car came back like a month later for its checkup, and had air pockets all in a bunch of them, and I had to go through and fix all that. I had to tell the customer, I'm like, we've got to set you up with an appointment for another day. I've got to fix that. We can't have you running around like that. Okay, let's see what we've got here. I believe it's this one, and these all look similar. So we're just going to guess that they're in the correct order that they're supposed to go on the car. And I think I'm just going to go straight tack on these. We will see. I'm going to try it. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Yeah, this does not want to fit in there very good. Okay. Next, over here, you guys still looking, paying attention? Okay. Okay, that looks good in there. Yep, nope. I guess nope is the right word, nope. Yep, I'm having a problem. Okay, I've got to go grab myself a smaller squeegee for this. Something that's going to fit in here better. Really, it just needs to be like even smaller than half this size of this one here. Make sure you take your time on these. Get them pushed out really good. All right. Next, well, let me go get another squeegee real quick. Let's check my black pouch, huh? What do we have in here? This one will work. That's a fusion tool. Okay. Looks like the last one for this side are these itty bitty things. So when you're using a tack solution, it will want to get real sticky. So I'm going to hold that in place with my finger, and I'm going to continue to line up this other side. And actually this can come over, so I'm bumping into that edge over there too much. This one's only getting the flat part in the back. It doesn't really start to round up like some of the other ones did. Okay, there. That's a better squeegee for that, huh? And this one, I don't know, they may have given me this at a trade show. I know you can buy them this small. I would just take one of the bigger ones or one of the other squeegees that I have, like the red one, and cut it down to this size. Okay, there. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get piece number 6. And I'm gonna start with some slip on this one. I think it's this one here, or it's that one. Let's go look at it again. Okay, so the longer end is at the bottom. Okay, so that would be the opposite side. This is the one we need. Okay. You know, it's tough with these to always know exactly which one's which. So I still make mistakes sometimes, but you get better at picking one. You're like, oh, this has got to be the one, and it is usually, but I definitely still screw that up. All right, so I'm getting this all laid out into place here. Okay, let's pull this part back up here. Oh, it's kind of tacky, huh? That's kind of already got like sticking a little bit. Okay, I'm just checking this front edge, making sure we're not hanging over. Okay, flip that over a little bit on itself. There we go. Okay, that's good right there. Just like that. And then this we don't need anymore. Let's go back to this one here, and I'm going to go ahead and go just on this bend here. We're going to squeegee that part out first. And then as we get to this other end here, we're going to be lighter because we don't want that to move. As you know, there's much less surface area for that to stick to right now. Okay, and then let's squeegee this up and out. Now that we've squeegeed out this section here, and like I said, okay, so let me go back to that real quick. We go lighter for the first pass because it's very easy for this to move because there's not much surface area that's attached to the part. And then we can come back and go heavier on that, and then we can work our way away from that. So this part I'm going to take up or back into the headlight. Okay, and then this other part we're going to bring down. Okay, and then right there it's popping up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some tack in that. And let's see, can we hook this on us? Keep it with us? Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and push that out now. There we go. There we have it. That's a pretty easy piece. I like that one. Although, you know what, to be honest with you, I like this one too. This one was a little bit more awkward, and so it was kind of fun to do. Because I like these type of curves and stuff with paint protection film. I like the way that it feels squeegeeing them out. That just, I don't know what that is. It's like this way and this way. Is that like, I don't know, maybe that's a weird thing to say. I just like the way it feels when I'm squeegeeing those type of areas. It looks so good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put a piece on around the H here. So let's lay this into place first. Yeah, it is pretty tacky. Okay, and you guys are kind of in my way. I'm going to scooch over here a little bit like this. See what we can do in here together. And this is getting pretty intricate. Let's see how. So it wants to come around on the face here. So let's see. We need to make sure that we're good from left to right. So something like that, I believe, is going to work out right like that. Okay, I'm just holding on the front here, which is kind of tacking that down into place. So I'm putting a little bit of stretch on it in order to get the front to round around. Okay, let's see if I can just hold my finger right here, then that should get this to stick down, and we can squeegee the rest that we just placed. Okay, so let's go from our finger, and I can let go of that, and we'll squeegee back, and we'll come forward, come up over the top a little bit, go back, and then come forward. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put this piece on, and then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap this around the front there. All right, and then let's get this top part laid in here. Make sure that we're wrapping around the front onto the face there. It's very small. Okay, I'm going to put my finger right here and put just a little bit of stretch on this part. There we go. See how that laid down real nicely? Hopefully that shows up in camera. And we don't want to go back too far and be bumping into these parts, because then the film's not going to want to stick down back there. We'll go ahead and squeegee out to my finger. Okay, and then we'll take back. And then we'll come and just kind of make sure there's nothing too much in there on the front. All right, now let's go ahead and take care of this part. So it looks like we could use a little bit of stretch, and that would help this part here lay down a little better. But let's make sure then that that doesn't take us too far out towards the middle, and I think it does. I think that's too far. So let's let this back up. Let's let that just sit in there naturally, and I think that that looks a bit better. So don't overstretch this or you're gonna end up with too much material down here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot. I'm gonna hold my finger on here, and that keeps our placement, and I'm gonna sneak tack in there. And then I'm gonna come across the bottom, and that's just kind of in the middle that I'm hitting. And then we'll go ahead and take things back like that. And we'll bring the rest kind of forward like that. Okay, now let's get some tack in this part here. And then we'll go ahead and push this down. So I started in the middle, and that makes sure that if there is any extra material there, that it gets pushed down in the middle, and then it pushes some to the sides. So that can be helpful on corners like this. Okay, so let's see, lift up to where we were fully put down. I'm even gonna go up a little bit higher because it looks like we're coming too far forward, and that's rounding around too much now. So we're gonna need this to go back a little bit. Let's see what we can do with that. So we don't want to be hanging over the front of here. Okay, so that looks good. And then there will be a little bit of stretch to get these two to meet here in the middle, which will be fine. And you know what we could do? We could put some of that stretch right in here. So let's see if that'll work, because we could use some stretch to help get rid of some of those fingers on this back side here, and it also tighten up this front and help this to roll down. It's like it wants to do that, right? Once you put a little stretch into it. Okay, yep, I like that better. Okay, so I went back first that time, and then came down, and then we'll take out everything off the edge. Okay, now go ahead and get underneath here now. I'm just gonna throw some tack in this one, and we bring those in real close to each other like that. Oh, that's good, that one. And then it's stuck. I don't know if tack is a good call right there, but it really worked out. Every once in a while things go really good. All right, let's get some tack in these edges, and let's get this part pushed down all the way back. Okay, there was a little air pocket right there, and I just used my thumbnail to push that completely out. Okay, let's get this whole front rounded around now. So get a bunch of tack in there. Go ahead and start right down here, and we're just going to work our way around, chomping this down. And you want to make sure that you're getting this whole rounded edge really well. Don't leave any moisture on that, because it will dry as a air pocket. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a moment, and we're just going to continue to work our way around this way. That is like an awkward something to try to squeegee. It really needs to kind of go like this, just like I was doing around the rest of it, but it's really hard to do because you're bumping into everything here. Okay, let's go ahead now and dry some of this out. I know, am I saying that a lot? Let's go ahead now. I might be saying that a lot. You know, ever since somebody pointed out that I repeat myself a lot on certain words, I really kind of started getting self-conscious about that. Hopefully I'm not annoying the crap out of you guys. Am I annoying the crap out of you? Let me know. Let me know. And actually, if I'm annoying the crap out of you, you're probably in the bathroom. Oh, that was bad. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and try this out. And some of that is not going to stay down. We will come back later though and push that down once it dries out a little bit more. So things like this that don't totally want to go down, like right in here, right up here, I'll just come around as I'm working on things and as I see this type of stuff, and I'll push it down again once it's been sitting here without any moisture in it for a while, and then eventually it'll go down and stay down. And then if it doesn't, or if I don't come through and push it down, then during the heat sealing process it'll all get taken care of. No edge left behind. Okay. I hope there's a piece for this Honda emblem. There's gotta be, yep, okay. All right, let's get this piece on here. Which side's sticky? This side, okay. You guys ever put a piece of paint protection film on like this? Oh, I've done it before. And you're like, this isn't sticking at all. This is terrible. It's like, yeah, doofus. Flip it over. You got to put the sticky side on the car. I wish I could say that's never happened to me, but it has. All right, let's get this lined up really good here. Okay, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and squeegee this out now. So far this is only slip. I would imagine that there'd be some fingers on here that want to continue to pop up potentially. All right, and I'm actually, you know what? The other thing to do is be real careful, because I could have hit one of these other pieces of material here and bunched that material up. So be careful of the stuff that you have already installed. Goodness gracious. Okay. All right, there we have it. Protected. All right, let's go ahead and put the center section on now. Now this piece does go around these guys here, these parts. So it'll go right here, and then there's a little cutout, and then it goes back. So this should be a fun piece to put on as well. All right, be careful when you're pulling this up, because there's a lot of different cuts in it going back and forth, different directions. You don't want to tear it. All right, let's lay this into place here. Let's see what we can do. So we pretty much know where this is going to go because of how it rolls over. And let's see, it is pretty tacky. So I mean, I was right on the fact I was going to be pretty tacky today. We're gonna work with it and live with it. Okay, let's go right to the bottom there. Let's see how that lines up. That's looking good. Okay, these pieces are just time consuming. Okay, so we're gonna go like to here for now. I'm gonna first squeegee this out across the front there on the face, and then we'll roll this stuff back. I think it's gonna be helpful to have tack solution in there. Okay. Okay, we'll take that part that way, this part this way. All right, that looks like that went down good. Let's roll this part up in. Keep good pressure. I mean, this is actually great practice doing pieces like this, just practicing using the squeegee and how you keep pressure on these bends and stuff, because it's definitely something that's a technique you need to learn, and then it becomes very valuable on the rest of a bumper in the areas where the curve isn't so big like this, because then you're like, oh, that's easy compared to this. But so this intricate stuff is definitely helpful for technique. All right, so we're gonna come over at least another one. So let's try that right there. Let's see, right there. We don't want to hang over the bottom because we don't want to do any trimming. So let's go ahead then and go across the face here. Okay, that looks really good. Oh, these are kind of a headache. I don't like, I mean, it's good. It's a great pattern and there's a ton of coverage, but I wish that it didn't round up this little side right here. It should have just ended in the flat area and not gone up the side, because I feel like up the side there's no real value to that, and then you have to get this recess pushed out really good, otherwise it's going to hold moisture and then turn into a silver air pocket. Okay, but nonetheless, I mean, look at how good it's fitting. I mean, that's, you know, that's one really nice thing about using these kits, is that when they fit this good, it's really pretty amazing. Because, I mean, how are you going to cut that by hand? To be honest, you're not. If you are, it's going to take forever. This is like doing interior pieces on the dash or something in a car. Okay, I feel like we're starting to get a little bit too far this way, so I'm gonna just put a little bit extra material in here, and then we're gonna push that out. Basically, that's a little bit of bunched up material, and so that'll help us, what I would call like shrinking the material up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna work basically all the way to the middle here and just past it right here. So, oops, that moved a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's fill all that in with tack solution, and we'll work our way over there. Just making sure, sometimes the finger is really, I mean, your best squeegee. Just really making sure that we're down into that bend really well, not leaving anything behind. Okay, now let's go up here. And then this center section, I feel, oh, nope, okay, it was just a bunch of water pulled up right here and looked like this was too far down, but it isn't. And we are definitely stretched over a little too far that way. So I'm going to try a few more of those techniques there, or a few more of that technique where we bunch the material up a little bit and then push it out to shrink this up. Okay, let's lift this back up, get rid of any pre-tacking, lay that back down, and I'm going to go ahead and get this bottom lined up. We're going to push a little bit of extra material right in here without moving the bottom so that we're hanging over. All right, it does turn out that that might have been the camera overheating and not that it was out of battery. I did replace a battery anyway though. Okay, there we've got some extra material. There's some extra material. There's some extra material. Okay, and let's see how that goes. First we'll push down the extra material. we'll throw some tack in these two sections. And we'll push these out. There we have that. So I'm kind of going in on the middle there and working my way over towards the edges. Just in case you weren't paying attention with your eyeballs, I'll give you some words about what I'm doing there. Okay, that feels good. You could see, okay, that was actually, I'm kind of glad that happened, because that'll tell you how much pressure I'm putting down on this. It's a lot. Okay, somebody just came in the door. Let's take a little break here and see what's going on. And actually, we did all this together, but we will finish it together. All right, let's get this last part in here. We're going to pull this back and just double check and make sure we're not going over the edge. I know I keep saying that, but I mean, that's what I'm doing. So it's important. Alignment is incredibly important. If you don't believe me, go watch, what video is that? It's not up yet, but it will be up once this video goes up. It goes up, I think this, I don't know when it goes up, maybe in a week or two, but that'll be before this one. And what car was I working? A Ford Explorer. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I got wrecked on that Ford Explorer. It was bad times, really bad times. I eventually just quit. I quit recording. I turned the camera, one of the cameras turned off, and that was the final straw. And I just shut them all down and quit. I was like, nope. And then I just installed by myself. You know, we don't, it's not always, rainbows and sunshine, even for people who do this every day. Okay. There we have it. That piece is on. Let's move on to another piece. Okay, let's go ahead and get a piece of film on down here. Okay, so it looks like there's a lot of areas that we could use to line this up. So let's see where we want to start with this. These supports, or whatever these are called right here, it goes around those and goes back further. So we know that's going to tuck back in there. We know that we need to come out and go around this and then go back that way a little bit around the bottom of that. And then we also know that we need to line up along this bottom edge here, and then this rounded part here will go right in there. Okay, this is going to start tacking up. So, let's get our squeegee out. Come on, you guys, come prepared. Get your squeegee out. All right. Okay, so we'll get this lined up on this edge. Make sure when we roll over, we don't go too far down and hang over the edge, because that's going to make more work for us if we have to trim, right? Oh, it's getting pretty sticky. I don't know. Might have to add a little bit more slip, but I probably won't. Okay, so right there, we're not, I'm just trying to make sure I'm also not bumping into that part. So I want to come over the front, but I don't want to hit that part either. Okay, then we'll round down, we'll get this part stuck, and then we'll work our way away from there. Okay. You know, I really like working with this material sticky, so I know some people probably don't like that, and they're probably running a lot of soap, so they have a lot of work time, but it sure does help speed things up because that stuff just sticks all of a sudden. It's just like boop. Okay, checking this front edge because that's going to really tell us how far back we need to be, and making sure also at the same time we're not running into these guys again. Okay, so out to here now. Okay, now let's deal with this down in here. Okay, I feel like, okay, there we go. I feel like we're going back too far, but that's just the way the pattern is designed, so let's see what we can do with it. It'd be nice if it didn't go back so far. Maybe like that. But see, so it goes in and then it goes up a little and then back, and I was hoping that we could just not go up and then back. We could just stay on the flat part, but it's definitely designed to go back there and then round up a little, and that's gonna be tough back in here. Okay, let's get this part all pushed down. And we'll get back to that in a moment. So we're gonna need some stretch right here to get rid of this finger. You guys still looking? Good, good. Paying attention, I like that. Oh, there's pre-tack in there. So I'm stretching down here and then aligning with my other hand here, this other part along the back. Okay, so let's try something like that. Don't pop up, stay there. Okay. That was a decent amount of stretch. Left us with a minor stretch line right here, but it's fine. I would pull back all the way to this line if that was going to be a problem, and then retry positioning that. Okay, let's go ahead and get this over the front edge here. It keeps coming back. Be persistent with it. Okay, I'm gonna pop this up and just let this hang out. And actually that type of thing is gonna leave a mark in the adhesive if we let it sit like that. So let's do a little bit of pull on this and get this lined up a little bit further out there and get rid of that tension that was right there. Okay, so now you can see we don't have anything like that, and we should be good to let this just sit and relax now while we work on some other parts. Okay, and that's fine. I kept trying to push that down, but we'll just leave it for now. We need to get back here and get that figured out. Okay, so that is gonna be a very interesting area. I don't even know how much we're gonna, hopefully the other camera's getting this. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna go back, and then once we get to that ledge, I'm gonna try running my finger across in the recess before it goes up and try to get some of this stuff pushed out with just my finger. Okay, and then we'll come back behind where my finger just ran and use the squeegee. Okay, way back in there. Okay, so I'm just double checking everything, making sure that everything is pushed down and that I'm not feeling any water pockets. And a water pocket you normally feel by running over it, and it'll feel like just like a bump. And I'm putting a ton of pressure down when I'm going across that. I mean, a lot of pressure. Okay, that is good. Okay, so now we're gonna come down here, and we're gonna wanna make sure that we're lined up pretty good. And that'll tell us if we need any stretch out here, or if we already have too much stretch. Okay, so right about there. And then we've got some fingers. I don't think we can go much further over. Let's see how the rest of this lines up actually, because we're gonna need some stretch right here to get rid of this same finger again. Yeah, we're gonna need, we don't want any more stretch in here. because we're going to need to stretch here, and then this, to get this part to line up, it can only come over a little bit. I don't even know if it's quite enough to get rid of this finger. So I may have already stretched in that area too much this way. So let's go ahead and work with this and get over there and see what we've got going. Okay, so this is the same type of idea here as when we were working before in that other area with that long piece that we had to keep, that what I called shrinking the material. This is basically that same thing, except for now it's just fingers we're going to be pushing out. Okay, let's not go over all the way. Let's go to like right here, and then we can lay this down and then stretch away from it. We don't want to tack all this down right now and then pull away from it later after we're done with this, and then have a hard line to stretch from. Okay. Lift this back. We'll put the tack in here. Like so. Put a mist on the top. And making sure that we don't miss any of this, like leaving anything out here. Go ahead and start pushing this back. So good pressure when I'm going back, good even pressure. Don't miss anything and leave it behind. I mean, this is an area where if you leave something in there, it's not going to want to come out because we're using a bunch of tack solution in there. Okay, this part, that's okay. Here's the problem is that the middle here part isn't stuck, so it's hard to push away from that because it keeps wanting to move the material up. And let's see if we can get this pulled up a little. And then lay this back down. Okay, it's going quite well. Finger there popping up. We're just gonna need some new fresh tack in that, and it'll probably go down. Right here, fresh tack. Go ahead and push this back down again. So I'm actually able to stick the tip of the squeegee back behind underneath this part of the grill and push that down. So that should be pushed down really well now. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna throw some slip in there, and let's get that laid down into place, and then let's go ahead and squeegee this out. Okay, now we can stretch away from that area. And how I'm going to try to figure this is, okay, so there's a few things that's going to happen here, and it's got to happen pretty quick because we don't want this to dry too much before we start stretching, or we're going to leave a stretch line. I need to line this piece up with that thing right there. So that's important, as well as we need to get rid of all this finger. Now there's no stretching right here, right? It's all right here. So I'm going to use my hand right here like this, so that all my stretching is in this area, and then I'm going to line this up. Okay, so something like that should work out really well, and I might need this to come down a little bit here. So something like that, I think, seems like good alignment. So I'm staying at the bottom, just into the recess here. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go ahead and get across the front here. And then let's check this guy. That's looking good. That is gonna have to start going back a little more so we don't hang over too much in the front, but we'll deal with that in just a moment. Okay, so let's squeegee this out. Let's go up to that guy. And then let's take all the rest of this up and out. Okay. All right, on another one of these areas. Let's get this down right now. Because pretty much I believe the rest of this is just going to be alignment going over. So this all can just sit there for a moment. Okay. And so it's got a little bit of a recess right here, so I was pushing this out and then kind of holding that with my finger. And we're kind of running into, it just keeps popping back up. So I'm going to hold that down with my finger for a moment while I push some more of this other part out. Okay, I'm going to go over this with my finger real hard, just like we did on the other side. Make sure that recess doesn't have any moisture trapped in it. Okay, all the way back there. I'm actually going to throw a little bit of tack in there. So I can't, to be honest with you, I can't see that well what's going on back in there. Okay. I can't even get my finger in there. Let's try my pinky to the very edge of the material. Holy moly. Pushing really hard. I mean, it's actually kind of hurting my pinky to push that hard. Trying to make sure that that's all down back there. Okay. Let's put a little tack in this. Just keep that with me. And let's push that out. Pull this back up, get some slip in there, and then let's make sure we're ending correctly. And it looks like this is going to need to, let's see, we're coming up a little long, and not really, but pulling that out could make this hang over. So let's see how we're doing on the front. Okay, we're doing really good. So we're going to need to work with that finger right there. And we'll go ahead and grab it right in the middle like that, bring it down, and then we'll take it back. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to throw some tack in that back edge and push all this down back here. Okay, now let's get this part all down right here. So we're going to lift that back up, get some tack in there. You can see the tack came up a little high right here, so let's get that out of there first. Okay, roll that over. Alright, so we're going to do half of this together, and then I'm going to do the other side by myself. We never rolled this, so we need to get that done, I guess, first. But this has also stuck itself down a little bit here, so I just lifted that up. There was an air pocket stuck in there, so let's get tack in here. Oops, there we go. Okay, so we'll go ahead and roll this. Slide chomp there, and then I'm chomping down the very edge. You could probably also do a slide chomp with that. Okay, Now let's take care of this finger here. So I'm gonna, there's a bunched up material there. So we need to put a little bit of tension on that and pull back on it and get this underneath. And then we'll go ahead and squeegee this out. And then the hopes is, let's see, how do we want to do that? Let's just go ahead and take that right back. Okay. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and take this all the way over. Okay, that should work for that section. Just double checking, make sure I'm not leaving any moisture behind. That gets us past the middle mark. Let's work this way now. So what we need to do is bring this back together as a seam here. And it doesn't need to be crazy good, because once the car's on the ground, you're not gonna be able to see it, which is great. So they did kind of take that seam and put it on the underneath, which is going to be helpful because it doesn't have to be a crazy tight seam. All right. Sound like I said the same thing twice, huh? So with the way that we did our stretching here, this is a huge gap. And so what I'm going to do, and then let's see how that lines up. Okay, it does need stretching, which is good. I'm glad it does, because now we can work this material up like this and fill that gap right there. Now the other problem we're going to have though is going to want to do this and leave a pinched up bit of material here, because that's a long way for it to go up, if you can see that. So it wants to lay more like that, but we need to go up almost a quarter. It's less than a quarter of an inch. So let's see what we can do about getting this very corner down first, and then we're going to need to pull that way and push it up that way in order to keep it from getting this big old finger thing right here at the end. So let's do this. And so I'm just coming up and trying to seam these two together as close as we can get them. Okay, so let's try that, and then let's see what we're doing here. Okay, so we're gonna need a little bit more, which is good because we got a lot of finger there. But it was important that we brought these together. I don't think that this comes up as high on the other side as it does on this side. It's just I stretched it from a different direction. Okay, so let's get rid of this extra material here, but let's not let that pop up. Okay, let's get it down to right in there where it's seamed nicely, and then it starts to come apart, so we'll stop right there. Spread apart, the gap gets bigger. Okay, I'm gonna hold that in place. I'm gonna lift this up, I'm gonna put some tension on it backwards, and then we're gonna squeegee this part out. Okay, now let's get the rest of this in place. So we are gonna need to put some more stretch on it, which leaves us about that much finger. Let's see what we can do with that. I mean, that's not a crazy amount. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, that went right down. Okay, they were overhanging a little bit, so I was just trying to bunch it up and push it back that way, but it just lifted the whole thing up, so that works as well. Okay. And then a little bit of tack and that little finger popping up. So let's get this one down here on the front. I'm gonna hold it for a second, and while I'm holding that, we can get this one down. So this material is going back and hitting and then coming down a little. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and dry this edge out. I hope it wants to stay stuck down, not having moisture in it. Moisture will allow it to pop up. All right, so it was important when we stretched away from here to go up that we came this way as well. Otherwise it was going to leave that pinched finger right there still, and that was not going to work. Ah, heck. Let's just do the other side together as well. You guys can skip ahead if you want. There's chapters. Okay. Just go ahead and pull this back up. You guys can't see all that yet. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and squeegee this out to right here, and then we'll go towards the middle. Okay, and then make sure everything's off the face here. See, I did end up with a little water pocket, so I'm glad we went back and double checked that. Tack in that finger that's popping up. Get on down. Okay. Now, let's get this squeegeed out. I'm going to try and push that down by pulling that way and up. Same thing as we did on the other side. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Battery exhausted? I just put that battery in. I got some bad batteries right now that apparently need to be replaced. Okay, I need to replace it though because I'm not sure how good of a shot the GoPro is getting on this. Because I can't see what it's pointing at. I mean, I can guess it's getting a decent picture, but I can't say for sure. Oh. Why does that keep happening right there? It must not, there must be water still left in there. Every time I went across it like that, it just popped it back up. Like it wasn't stuck down at all. Okay. Okay, we're gonna pull that back. Put a mist in there, and we're gonna do this in hopes that we can let this relax back that direction a little bit because we are coming too far this way. So I put a little bit too much stretch in that. And that looks like it'll go really good. We just wanna make sure that when we push this down, we're not gonna be going over the top of this piece of material. And that looks good right there. So we'll kind of lightly squeegee over that. And then we'll go back from there, a little bit more pressure. Okay, and then we'll put some more pressure on that. Let's take a look over here. It's gonna need some tack solution in there. And it's going a little bit too far to the side over here, so I'm gonna bring it back this way, which may make a little finger right there, but that we can work with. Okay, and with the tack solution being there, that'll go down this time and stay down. Okay, tack solution in there. We need some right here. Okay, and then let's see what this looks like when we just flip that out of there. Looks good. So we'll go ahead and put some tack in there, and then now push this down. Okay, and then we're gonna take a towel and we're gonna dry this out. Oh, it looks like we did overhang just a little bit right here. I think if I kind of rub like this and rub it back, we can push it down a little bit so it's not overhanging. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back just a little bit this way because you saw that finger that's in there then. And we're gonna try and push that finger this way and then up and out like that. Okay, very tedious stuff here. And I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, when you're overhanging this much or this way too much and you push it back, it bunches the material up over here. And since this was the only area popped up, that's why it got that finger. And what I was trying to do is get this finger over to here where we have a little bit of a gap between the two pieces of material, and then we're able to push that extra material up and out right there. Spray that down. Go grab our part. Okay, so let's see here. let's get, that's right out the gate, tacky. Okay, that's the same tack, the same slip. Gotta move around a little bit for me. Okay, this is gonna go right up that line and up to there. So that looks like that's good alignment. Now it looks like with this finger here that this wants to go back just a little bit, and let's see if that's an option. So we'll get back to right there. That's as far back as we can go without running into these pieces here. And we'll go ahead and come straight down with that. Let's see how we're looking. Oops, I went too far back with my finger there. We're not pushed down back there yet. That is lining like dead nuts up with the bottom piece. That is a little close for comfort. Okay, so let's squeegee this back now. And let's see, we need that tiny squeegee again. It's got a little mist on there. And then we'll go ahead and make sure that this bottom is not, because we're hitting right here, and we want to make sure that we don't hang over. So something like that should work. Just let that sit for a minute. Some of it might start to tack up, which will be good. Okay, working our way up here. I don't know if you, can you guys even see in there? I'm telling you, I can't really. It needs more light, I guess. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys, because this is a huge pain in the butt to record. Okay, let's get some tack in there. Could always get a flashlight, but there's going to be nowhere to put it. Like, it's not going to stick to anything because it's got a magnet on it to hook to metal, but that's not going to be helpful out here. Let's take a look though. Let me go grab that. Oh yeah, can you guys see better? That's like way better, isn't it? All right, so everything looks like it. We did get some good passes on it and got it squeegeed down real nice. Okay, that looks really good back in there for not being able to see what I was doing. And you do want to stay low. You want to stay low because if you could see right here, there's nothing below these things. It's open. So if you go up too high with this pattern, it's going to hang over that top edge. Oh, really? Honestly, I got lucky back in there because that could have come out much different. Okay, this has not been squeegeed down yet. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see, can we just do without this now? Okay, let's wet that all back down. And then I'm going to watch this bottom edge and make sure that we don't overlap. Okay, I'm going to hold that in place for a moment in hopes that that'll start to tack back up. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pull out on this just a little bit, get some tack in there. And actually it did kind of start to tack up, so that's good since we're running so tacky. Otherwise the tack solution going in there would have been helpful because that would have helped it tack down right away and I could have just squeegeed it out. All right. So I'm going to get tacking all of that now. And let's go ahead and round this over. And back in towards the grill here. Okay, more tack is necessary. All right, now what I want to try and do is get this to roll over right now, since it kind of goes out like this, so there's going to be a little bit of stretch necessary there. Okay. Then we can work up away from that. Yeah, this part definitely was too far over for this piece, so it left a little gap in there, which is fine. It just, you know, it would have been nice if it could have been that way still a little bit more. So we'll see how that lines up, or I'll see how that lines up on the other side. I'm sure it'll be a little bit better. Okay, just tucking that way back in there on that edge, which is still popping up just a tiny bit. We'll let that dry out and then we'll heat seal that tomorrow. Okay, swipe this part down and we'll go get that piece and put it in. Okay, so if you're running real slippery, this stuff is going to be a huge headache because it is going to slip and slide everywhere. I would recommend running much tackier for small pieces like this. Otherwise, you're going to need to use some tack solution or a lot more of it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just lay all the rest of this in place. I've kind of been lining this up as I go, but I want to see what this looks like here. And it looks like we don't want to stretch too much. This could even be this way a little bit more. Oh, and it can. Okay. Okay, so let's untack this. Re-wet that back down. Lay this back on here. Okay, I pulled it over a little too far. So let's get this part lined up right here. And so by kind of placing this in place and then touching it with my finger, I'm actually kind of getting it to stick down and tack up a bit. Okay, we'll go about to the middle there, and we'll come back and start squeegeeing this out. So I'm going fairly gentle over this for this first pass. We don't want to move the material, and it's really easy to do because it's such a small piece. Okay, so I'm slide chomping that edge. And then it's hanging over just a little bit there on the bottom, so I'm going to put some tack in this bottom. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a slide chomp on this. Okay, that looks like it worked out. Try out that top edge, and we'll keep working our way across. So I'll also show you this with tack solution. So if you're just using tack in a situation like this, you just have to be really gentle when you touch it and get it into place and lock it in. Just real gentle. And we need to get actually over to here and see how this is lining up. But this also needs to go up a little bit more. Okay, we'll see how that works. We've got a little bit too much material over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that thing where I shrink this up a little. You know, I don't feel like we stretched this at all, but for whatever reason it's showing up to be a little bit big on this other side, and it's just a guess because we don't have this piece in yet, so but I'm guessing it's a little big. Oh, Okay, now we're gonna call that for the win. And we'll go ahead and squeegee this stuff out. So you push down right in the middle of that finger, and then you can push it out. And because that's tack solution, it's going to want to tack right up. Do the same thing with that one. Up and down with it. And we'll go ahead and squeegee the rest of this out. Okay, I should start tacking up real good. So I'm going to go ahead and go tack solution on the top, tack solution on the bottom, and then we'll push the rest of this out. I'm going to start with the top since it's pushed down a little better. Slide chomp across there. Okay, and we'll work our way around this corner. Alright, now let's get this bottom part. Get that those fingers down and kind of pushed out here. Just double checking to make sure I didn't leave any moisture in that edge. It might be a better angle for the slide chomp for this camera back here. All right, there we go. Next. All right, I wish I could say we're done. I wish I could say we're done, but we are not. We have at least 2 pieces here. I'm guessing another piece right here, and then maybe something over these fins, I'm not sure. So let's take a look though. I'm gonna go over there and look, and then I'll come back and decide which piece is gonna be next. Okay, so we're gonna do this piece right here now. Okay, so I'm gonna start here and come down because this is all meets together right in here. All 3 of these pieces meet together. Oh, I pushed too hard on it. I thought since I set that down just a moment, you know, just gave it a little bit of time, it might have stuck itself down plenty, but it hadn't. There's kind of a janky light. Okay, bring that all the way down to the corner there where it rounds around. And now we're gonna go ahead and chomp this stuff in. A little tack in this spot where they're all coming together. Oh man. Okay. The light's definitely helpful back in there. Okay, I'm gonna lift this back up. I'm gonna wet this down. I'll go ahead and put this into place. As far as we can tell across the top without going over. Okay, there we go. Okay, a gentle squeegee out for the first pass. A little bit more aggressive on the second pass there. Go ahead, I'm going to put some tack in that top edge. And I should be able to kind of push this stuff up and out. Maybe we could do a slide chomp there. Okay, now all the rest of this needs to go down and under here. Okay, that one went down well. Let's get this one. Okay, push this down. And we got a couple little things popping up here and there. So we'll throw a little tack solution in there. Okay, and let's take this one out. Okay, and I'm gonna put my finger in there and really push it down, because one of those, this little straight up and down like louver thing, it's bumping into that one just the tiniest bit, and we will not be trimming that. So I want to get everything pushed out there, and then when we go to heat seal, I'll just double check that area and make sure that everything stayed down, which it doesn't look like it is right now. You can kind of see that white there, and that means that it's popping up, but that's no big deal because that will go right down with some heat. Okay, just double check this. All right, now let's get on this piece here. Okay, I don't know for certain, but maybe this is the second to last piece that we'll be doing together. So this piece, that piece back there, well, sorry, let's not worry about that right now. Let's just get this piece on. I don't know why I got to go off on a little tangent there. All right, so I kind of stretched up a little bit, pushed that down, and then got this, I kind of put some pressure on that and got that to stick down. And then now we'll go ahead and squeegee out between these two. Okay, there. And then we need to pull just a little bit out this way to reach the edge there. We're gonna need a little tack in there potentially. Okay, let's take a look. Hold there. Okay, I'll squeegee that all out. All right, and then let's see what we can do here with this piece now. So we don't want tack on this. Okay, it feels, I mean, it looks like it needs to come this way on the back part, just a little bit. So something like that. Okay, and that doesn't get us back too far either. I was just concerned if I stretched any back that way, we were gonna run into the back, but we're not. Okay, so let's go ahead and squeegee this out, headed towards the back. Okay, so I went and grabbed another squeegee that I can kind of, oh, you know what, that's just popping up back there. Surprise, surprise. So we'll put a little tack in there, but I got a squeegee with an angle on it that'll reach back in there easier than a flat nose. A flat nose squeegee. Oh goodness. How many people are still watching this video? Huh? This is gonna be a long one. I don't know what to do about this. That's what she said. Okay, I put a little stretch on that in order to get that to lay down real nicely. We're going to start rolling this back here. Let's see. Can we just lay it down and then push it out? Yeah, it looks like that should probably work. Okay, so we'll go across the front here, and then we'll start to work our way back. And then once we get over that edge, I'll just go straight back. Okay, and I'm kind of flying blind there again. I'm gonna throw some tack in all this, and we'll get the flashlight here. Just working my way towards that middle there between those two. Okay. Let's check up here now. I'm gonna just use my finger to push this down. Put some extra pressure on it. We got a little bit of extra material right here in this thing. So if you can see that popping up, the end of those relief cuts can definitely get these type of fingers in them, and we need to dry that out. That one's very small, so I'm certain it's going to go down eventually and stay down, but be careful of those and those type of relief cuts, because this comes over relief cuts and then turns and goes down. The only way to get rid of that right now would be to pull this back up and stretch up a little bit more, and it would eliminate that. But I'm certain that once this dries out a little bit and pushes down, it's going to go down and stay down. And then especially even if I have to come back with the heat sealing process time and put a little heat on that, you would push it down first, then heat it. You don't want to put heat on something that's popping up like that, but I will explain that during the heat sealing process. Getting ahead of myself here. That looks good, other than that guy. Now the other thing that you can do with that guy, and let's just do that since we're right here, another thing that fixes these is to bring this together. Pinch it together basically where it's like pushing on itself, or it's like adhesive to adhesive, and then you can take your knife and kind of saw away at that and then push that down, so you eliminate that area of the material that kept popping up. Okay, there. Now let's get this piece in. Oops. Gotta miss the material, or miss down the part as well. Okay, this needs to come up a little. Up, right there. Okay, now what we want to make sure is that this front edge does not overhang. Something like that. Looks like good placement for now and forever. Let's go with forever. Let's just not go with for now. For the next 10 years. That's the warranty on paint protection film right now. On the most common, big brands, 10 years. I mean, I remember installing this stuff, it was like 4 years. Back when it first came out. Okay. They went to 5, and then they went to 7. I think from 7, it pretty much went to 10. Okay, so I'm bringing this down to where I think it needs to go right there. And then that looks like the rest of that's lining up good. So we've got a little finger there that will push out. If it doesn't stay down, we'll work that out with some tack solution. Okay, there we go. Now we need to get that other part down back in there. So what we're gonna do is put some tack in that finger popping up, and we'll get some tack back in that part. And we'll see what we can do with this squeegee here. Just like that. Just like that. Nailed it. Okay, and then let's get this one down. Double nailed it. Okay, now let's figure this piece out down here. This is like a funky little piece going on right here. Okay, I'm gonna try to get that pulled back a little. And we're gonna put some slip in there so we can kind of push this down in here and see where this needs to go. Now there's a little bit of extra material there and there. So if we could get this to pull up and stretch just the tiniest bit, it would really help it roll over that better. But we don't want it to go down and hit the bottom there. Okay, so that's too much. Okay, that looks good right there. Okay. Getting kind of low on pressure here. Okay, squeeze it out kind of gently because that lifted back up. Now we'll take this part down. Oh, it's got a recess in it too, a little bit. That is a funky shape right there to be squeegeeing out on. Okay, we need the other squeegee so we can get back in there. Okay. All right, that's all down. Okay, that's great. Now we just need this part down right here. I'll go and do that with my finger and the towel, dries it out. It is tack solution, so I'd anticipate that that'll just go down and stay down. Okay, so it is popping up there again. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll let that sit and we'll push that down later. It should go right down later, maybe even with heat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come to the end of the installation process of this. Oh my goodness gracious. I still have to do all the other parts we didn't do on the other side. Okay. You know, that's paint protection. That's what it is. You got to do all the parts, just not on the video. Okay, so we've got that on there. So that's going to sit and dry. Once I get the other side done, this is all going to sit and dry overnight, and then we'll come back and we'll heat seal this, and then that's all that's left to do on this one. Unfortunately, that heat sealing process is tomorrow for me because these little pieces are exhausting. All right, so let's go ahead and heat seal all of these edges on the black here. We'll pick a spot and just work our way around. So we might as well start right here with the H, and then we'll just go around like this. All right, so we're gonna start heating all this up, warming up those edges and pushing things down. If you see some edges that aren't stuck down yet, it's a good idea to go over those first, to stick them down as much as possible, and then go back over them with the heat gun here and then push them down again. What can happen is if you're heating up that edge with when it's popping up still, what can happen is that you can overheat that edge, or you warm up the edge of the material that's popping up, and that material is not able to absorb the heat and radiate it into the bumper. It actually absorbs all that heat, so it becomes really malleable and pliable. And so what happens when you run your finger over that section is you might be pushing really hard, in an area that was already stuck down, and then you come up to that area that got really hot because it's not able to transfer the heat and it's popping up. It's not able to transfer the heat to whatever part it's on. And then you push over that part and then ripple, 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 it folds the material over, and then you need to trim that area out. Because there's really no way to correct that other than to cut it off. All right, so just make sure when you're doing stuff like this that you're really paying attention and working your way around that piece. You don't want to be jumping around too much because you can forget to cover things, you know, forget that you didn't push something down and leave something unheat sealed. I am kind of having to be careful here on this edge because I did also do the installation on the bumper here, and that has not been heat sealed yet either. So for some of this, I'm going to kind of have to touch up both of these at the same time just to make sure that I don't damage the paint protection on here while I'm pushing it down on here. All right, and I remember saying, I believe yesterday, that I didn't necessarily like the fact that this piece here went in, but also rounded up the sides. And yeah, I don't like that. I wish that they would have just cut it straight back, because everywhere where this goes flat and it goes to bend up, it left a little bit of air pocket on each one of those. So we're having to go through and push those down, heat them up and push them down. And then you're really just hoping you don't trap any air in there, and the chances of getting all the air out are pretty slim, so you're probably gonna leave a little bit. So I think that a better bet would have just been to have those cut straight off. All right, so we've worked down all this area here. We're just gonna keep working our way around this piece. Let's get this down, and we'll get down in here next to the R. Woo! That's hot. Too hot. That's at 750. Oh, I just happened to get that area pretty warm. It's toasty on my finger. You don't want to overheat that film because you can destroy it. Almost done with this part. There we go. And then let's get these little pieces here. These are they bumped up into an edge as well and left a little bit of air in a couple of the little spots. So just make sure you spend some extra time and get that type of stuff pushed down really well. Sometimes using something like a tool like this to get into that recess will work really good. I'm actually going to go around the edges of this first and push all this stuff down. Okay. Oh, and see this, I don't know if that shows up in camera or not, but there's whole silver right here. So we'll start at one end of that, and then we'll push that out down to the other end. Like that there. Okay, and this one looks like it might have a tiny little piece of debris underneath it right there, so we're just going to go ahead and warm that up, and then we'll just massage over the top of that to minimize that and get rid of the silver around that little dot, and that looks great. Okay, let's do half of this piece here. So we're just heating that up, pushing that down. And what I've found with a little bit of the rest of this that I already pushed down is that you can take this tool and run it in this line here and maybe get that to lay down a little bit better. Okay. And when it gets into these intricate parts like this, I love when I pull this thing out to go home. It's going home. I'm looking forward to being done with these little pieces here. Okay, then we'll come across the bottom here. I'm also having to push down the bumper here a little. That's getting in there further than my finger can smash in there and reach, so I'm using this tool to push that down. Also, more normal is for me to use this Bondo card. Okay, let's move on to this piece here. Nice straightforward piece to push down. I'm also having to be careful of the headlight. All right, there's a little dot right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some heat on that and massage it down. There. What that does is gets rid of the silver. We can't get rid of what's ever underneath there, but it's very minor, so I mean, I wouldn't even consider replacing a piece for something like that. All right, and now on to this part here. So that's that part right there that we trimmed off. See if we can get some direct pressure on it. There we go. All that silver is gone. I'm gonna go ahead and push this down since I'm looking at it and seeing that this part was still popping up a little. Okay. Now let's go ahead and work our way around this. And then we need to be careful because like the same situation, the bumper is still not pushed down yet. So this is actually a piece that I'm doing on the bumper. It rounds in there just a little bit. So I'm getting the bumper and this piece here at the same time. All right, way back in there. And I'll take this, run down the edge with that. I can't see what's going on back in there. All right, but making sure to heat it up and push it down anyway, even if it is a little bit flying blind. Okay, and then work our way around this bottom piece here, around the side. Okay, and on to this bigger piece now. Can't get my finger all the way back there. I'm gonna have to go ahead and use this to push all this down. What do you guys think of this new body style? I mean, I don't know if this is the first year of it. It might be the second year. I'm not totally sure, but I know that I like it. I think it was an improvement over the last Type-R. Even though I thought the last Type-R looked good too, so. But I think they made a good, if you're gonna make a change, I think this was a good change that they made. Okay, let's get this seam while we're right here. And you always, when you're pushing a seam down, you want to go with the seam. Okay, under here, there's a little bit of finger popping up, so I'm going to push that down. That way I can continue. That was on the bumper part. That way I can continue to put heat on this part without damaging that little finger that was popping up. All right, so we've got all the way around here. Let's go ahead and work this one all the way out to the middle. Okay. So I did, before I went home last night, I did use the air nozzle and blow all this out here, because it was definitely going to hold a bunch of water. Little dot right there, gone. Okay, let's work up this way. And be careful right in here, because we've got basically 3 pieces of material coming together. All right, let's go around this piece now. Are we having fun yet? I know I am. I'm having a great time heat sealing edges. Okay, so that's that piece now. Double check this edge. Okay. Now let's go ahead and work on this part all the way around. I mean, just real methodical about it. This will not be the most exciting part of your day. Well, hopefully. If it is, you had a really boring day. Really boring. Okay, there we have that. Now, this is coming up a little bit right here, so I'm going to put a little bit more heat on that. I'm going to get my fingernail in there with the material, or with this glove on it, get my fingernail right into that edge and push that down again. Okay, let's get half of this guy done together. Boop. Let's get the top part of it. It's also going to be the bottom of the bumper. Ooh, it's getting a little hot. My glove isn't sliding as easily across there. Okay. Now we need to raise this up. Let's see, that's gonna be it for this one. Other than underneath here, we need to raise this up and get the bottom of this still. All right, we'll start out here in the middle, and this is just a straight line, straight shot. There it is. Easy peasy. Okay, and we already got this seam. I'm just gonna double check it once more now that it's right in my face. Okay. All right, terrific. So that, oh my gosh, you're killing me. You're killing me, camera. Internal temperature too hot. You big baby. Do your job. Dang it, let's put the whole thing in the freezer for a minute. I just want to record my outro. The camera, I forgot to put the ice cube on the back of the camera, so it overheated. I just stuck it in the freezer for a few minutes. Now it has an ice cube on it. We're doing good now, it looks like. Anyway, thank you guys for taking a look at this video. That's the process of installing paint protection film on the black accent parts of this bumper. It's a lot of pieces, and I didn't count them. I said I would, I didn't. I don't know, maybe I'll throw a number in here if I get time to go through and recount all those. But 2025 Honda Civic Type-R. Thank you guys for taking a look. If you found something helpful, give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and we'll see you guys on the next one.